so that everything works like clockwork. Lots of money being raised, lots of love, lots of care, lots of attention going in to make sure that we can actually have a trip like this.
I'm hugging you.
One of the people
Giving you a hug.
that are our partners in this, and you saw, and for those of you who were on the rooftop the other day, I had the opportunity to express just a smidgen of how much I love the claimants, Abba and Pamela, what they mean to me personally, what they mean to the Jewish people and their leadership, and how they hosted us and all those soldiers on their roof, not only this time, but every single time. Well, yes, they deserve a huge round of applause. Well, our trips are dedicated to someone's memory. There's an incredible individual, Alav HaShalom. His name is Greg Fox. He was a wonderful person last year. For those who were here, you got a sense of who he was. She spoke about him. Pamela and her sister, what he stood for, who he was, and we are honored and blessed that our trips are associated with him. And what we do on these trips, I hope and pray, are an aliyah for his neshama. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce one of the most inspiring women that I know, the one and only Pamela Clayman!
Thank you. As I said, I think to all of you yesterday, life is like a little clip of an eternal flip. So we just have this moment. Some of us live to 120 and some of us don't. That's my sweetest little brother. And I know he would have been all of your best friends. He was really an amazing guy. He had all the airplanes in the house in Aspen and all that stuff on the physical, and it didn't affect him. He had 4 beautiful children, an amazing wife, and his life was dedicated to everybody else. He sat on so many boards. He gave so much charity quietly that till today I'm still finding out about. When I started to understand what little anybody could ever understand, and I know even less than that, about life and death, I didn't understand really, and we've all lost people that we love, what it means to connect to somebody in the other world through dedicating things to them. So, well, I have the privilege, my sister and I, to dedicate this mission. All of us have people in the other world. So as you move it forward, as you continue to build this momentum of men that are following their wives and wives that are following their husbands, when you come into that place and you're ready to move it forward, do it in the mirror of somebody that you love in the next world. It gives them a boost in heaven. I'll just tell you one quick story about my brother. He had it all, and there was a man named Charles. And Charles he actually didn't have a home. He was from the inner city. He really smelled. He had almost no teeth. He wore these big overalls, you know that. And everybody fired Charles except my brother Greg and his wife Merle. And the periodic times I would come to St. Louis to see it, Charles would be there. They'd be arguing like brothers. He didn't have a home when he met my brother, but my brother and my sister-in-law bought him a home. My brother was such a mensch that anybody else kicked him out, but he didn't just hire him. Charles barely ever worked. He was drunk most of the time. But when it came to Charles' time, Charles' sister from the inner city called my brother and said, "Greg, would you please give the eulogy for my brother?" And my brother and his wife and their 4 kids and their fancy car, because that's all they had is a lot of fancy cars, drove down to the inner city, which if anybody looks St. Louis inner city, it's like the 10th worst in the entire country. And he got out and he made that eulogy. He definitely stood out in that crowd. You know, sweetest brothers, it's all just like, it's over before you know it. So the question is, what are you going to do with this journey? As you move it forward for yourself, you should continue to set an example of what I know my brother would have wanted. And I thank you again, and I thanked you yesterday, and I'll thank you always, every man that ever comes on this trip, for elevating his soul, because we are the hands and the feet of those in the other world. So you should never have to lose anybody, but we all will. Just know that when you do, there's this really amazing idea of dedicating things. So let's keep moving it forward here, not just for my brother, but for all those people in the next world that really would love to have the experiences that you and I are having in this world, because we've been blessed beyond blessed. To be in Jerusalem, to be together, to understand what it means to connect to our souls, to have homes to come back to, and a world that as Jews today we're free. Let's have this opportunity together, and let's make this movement of love, this movement of understanding, this movement of commitment, and this movement of courage to continue to grow, so that every Jewish man and every Jewish woman can come to Israel and experience what you have. To life, l'chaim.